What's up guys, DuArktik here with another Marvel Strike Force video, and in this video we're going to take a look at all the leaks and all the data mines that we have for the Black Cat Scourge. We're going to take a look at which enemies you're going to be facing. We're going to take a look at the Scourges or packs that we're going to be able to apply to our run in order to increase our score, and we're going to take a look at which characters we're going to be able to use in order to defeat these enemies. In a future video I'm going to make the selection of the teams that I'm going to use in order to defeat the Scourge, the trials, in one shot, and this is going to be usable for people trying to do from difficulty 6 until difficulty 8, where you can one-shot all the enemies. But if you want to take a look at the strategy that I'm going to use for difficulty 9, that will be on a future video when we'll break down all the information and do a walkthrough to the Black Cat trials. So we're going to take a look at all information of the enemies, the new Scourges, trials, and we're going to take a look at the enemies and see exactly what you can do in order to beat these Black Cat trials. So as always, if you like the information on these videos, make sure to share it with your friends on Facebook and Discord. If you're new to my channel, make sure to subscribe for more Marvel Strike Force content, and make sure to smash that like button like a boss. Okay, so let's get started. Let's take a look at these leaks, data mines, and so on. And as always, the data mines, some of them come from MSF Tools. Michael, he was the one that was able to provide the data mines for the new Scourges that we're going to be able to use. In terms of the nodes and the enemies that we are facing, I had to do it myself, and it took quite a lot of work to put together the pictures of the characters, so you guys have a visual representation of the enemies that we are facing. So if you find that useful, make sure you share the video, because that will be definitely important and it will justify all this work that I put together. This was like 2 days of work, and yeah, it was several hours during the day. Okay, so let's get started. First off, we have this information that the community managers were able to provide on the blog. So we already knew that we're going to need Nowhere and Sinister 6. Then we had information that we have to use Mystic Villains, Global Controllers, and Brawlers. This is somewhat different from what we had before. We no longer have like global tags or city tags. Now we are getting a little bit on the realms of more complexity. Okay, so let's take a look at the Scourges that we're going to be able to apply on our runs. And on this one, we're going to be able to use war bonuses. So first off, the first Scourge is going to be World at War. All the war abilities are active during this run. I'm not sure if this means all offensive abilities or defensive abilities. If you can also use the defensive abilities, that will be great, because you're going to be able to use characters like Young Avengers and pair them up with other war offensive characters in order to have a stronger team. So this is going to be definitely interesting. Then we have Sinister Symbiotes. City villain characters will gain the Sinister 6 trait, and City Bio Heroes will get the Symbiote trait. So this means that villain symbiotes will get the Sinister 6 tag, and the characters like Web Warriors will get the Symbiote tag. I'm not exactly sure how you're going to be able to use this, but we'll see whenever the event arrives. The next Scourge we have is Agent of Nowhere. On spawn, Cosmic Heroes like Eternals or Heroes Guardians will gain the Nowhere tag, and Invader characters will gain the Shield tag. Interesting. Next Scourge we have is Brawl Room Blast. All Brawlers will gain critical hit damage, and all Blasters will gain critical hit chance. Okay, cool. Let's go to the next one. We have Second Wind. When any character drops below 50% health, it's going to generate 2 ability energy for that character. Hired Help. Summoned characters will gain 20% additional health. I think, I'm not sure, but I think so, based on description. Then we have Self-Preservation. On turn healers, this is characters with the healer as a weight, barrier themselves for 5% of their max health. So they're gonna get additional barrier on turn. Great. And the final Scourge that we have is on the offensive. Whenever a character applies heal block to an enemy, they are going to heal themselves for 15% max health. So we have to take a look, we have to make a list of which characters apply heal block to the enemies, so you can benefit out of this Scourge, or pack, whatever you want to call it. Now, we have to remember that these are the new Scourges. This is not all the Scourges, these are the new Scourges, so it's a total of 8 Scourges. That means that developers could add between 4 to 7 additional Scourges to make sure that you have enough points in order for you to get Black Cat unlocked on difficulty 4 and 5, and to allow you to get over 2 million points on difficulty 9. So keep that in mind, because this is not the only Scourges. Don't think it's gonna be this easy. Okay, let's move on. Let's take a look at the first node and the enemies that we're gonna be facing on the Black Cat trial. So no restrictions, that means you can use any character. You could possibly use this node to charge up some abilities of your characters, but be careful, because this Morgan Le Fay here can really mess up your controllers. And with all these carnages, you have to be careful, right? Because remember that if they push one of your characters below the 30% health, everyone is going to get crazy speed bar, and you don't want that, right? So yeah, be careful with this one. It might not be as easy as it seems, especially depending on which is the ISO weight of the enemies. I could have data mined the ISO weight from the enemies, but I apologize, it was just too much work. All of this was 2 days of work, or parts of 2 days of work, on top of other things that I was doing, and putting the ISO weight on each of the characters would just have been too much, and it would probably take another 2 days to complete this. But overall, this first node looks interesting. At the beginning, it doesn't look super difficult. We have to remember that we have these daredevils giving speed up to each other, so these guys are going to be a lot faster. And the symbiotes plus Morgan Le Fay, this is not going to be it's not going to be easy. If you're expecting the Black Cat trials to be as easy as the Nova trials, well, think again, because if they are requiring you a legendary to unlock another legendary, you can expect this to be quite hard. Okay, let's move on. Let's see the first node with some restrictions. We have the second node where we need to use Nowhere and Sinister 6. Once again, we can see a Morgan Le Fay right here, and we have double Scarlet Witch. Depending on how much speed bar these characters spawn with, we can get some strong negative effects on the face, like Disrupt and Blind, and all of them getting extended. So this is going to be quite problematic. Thankfully, we have Nova with his war buffs, and we might be able to stop the character that is going to cause us the biggest problem. So we have to pay attention to this one, which character we are going to stun. Then on the second wave, we have double Captain Marvel and double Spider-Woman. This is with the war tags. Remember, guys, remember. So these guys are going to get a lot more damage, a lot more functionalities from their kits, and they are going to be a lot more problematic. Spider-Weaver, she's always problematic, so you probably have to get another stun to get in her face, or ability block with the Thor Infinity War. Finally, we have Deadpool, Domino, and Gwenpool. Not too much of a big problem, we'll see how that's gonna work. Fortunately enough, they don't have the Cosmic Crucible abilities, so they don't have Safeguard and all those things, so this one might not be super difficult to deal with. The biggest problem is going to be managing the cooldowns and making sure that we have enough energy, and this is why we have to use that Scourge that pushes us below 50% health and then allow us to get more energy. Let's move on to the next node, where we have Mystic Villains. Mystic Villains. So what kind of Mystic Villains do we have? Agatha, Dormammu, Doctor Doom, we have Morgan Le Fay as well, Sylvie, Loki, and we have Strange Supreme. So we could use part of the Darkhold team, and we could also use some Asgardian characters and even Mr. Negative. We have to find out some good combination for Mr. Negative, because unfortunately his speed does not help to match up with other characters, but overall we have a few powerful characters. Okay, so in terms of the enemies that we are facing, we have to be careful with the vultures. If you are taking Hela or any kind of summoner, the vultures can mess you up, because whenever they kill a minion, they're gonna get a bunch of turn meter. Then we also have Zemo. I think Zemo is made on purpose to stop the Hela, because as soon as he kills your Greg, the vultures are gonna go crazy with the slows, offense downs, and also turn rewinds on your team. And that's pretty much it. On the second wave, not much of a big deal. None of these characters is problematic. And then on the last node, we have Mr. Sinister and Phoenix plus Madeline Pryor. Not a big deal as well. So as long as you're not taking Hela and Mr. Negative as well, you should be good to go. Okay, let's move on to the next node, node number 4, where we can use global controllers. So the global controllers that we have, you can see that we have Zemo, we have Agent Coulson, but Agent Coulson, I'm not sure if he's going to have his rework at this point in time, but his rework is coming very, very soon. Make sure you stay tuned to the channel for that. Okay, so other global controllers, we have Black Widow, we have Dazzler, Dark Beast, Doctor Doom, we have Morgan Le Fay again, we have Omega Red, Taskmaster, and we also have Hawkeye, Jubilee, and Mystique. I'm mentioning some of these characters because we have seen in the past that they have quite powerful abilities. We also have Magneto, and that means that you could possibly use Magneto, Mystique, and Dark Beast to apply some early blind to your enemies. Okay, so let's take a look at the enemies. Is this early blind going to be helpful? I guess it's going to be, right? We can apply blind to these Silver Surfer, to these Icaris, and also to these Hero Asgardians. They don't have any Heimdall, so you can definitely apply blind to them. Then there is a Cersei on the second wave. You have to be careful, you don't want to pair up Icarus and Cersei, otherwise they're going to be quite problematic. And on the last wave we have Ghost Rider and we have Dr. Voodoo. So at this point you really don't want to mess up the Baron Mordo with these other two, otherwise he's gonna get tons of energy and he's gonna stun your team and apply blinds to your team, and you don't want that. So I think we have some combination here that you could use. I think Magneto and Dark Beast would definitely be interesting. Then we have Omega Red that also pairs up with mutant characters, and maybe Doctor Doom, popular counter, but this Taskmaster here is also important, so we have to take a look if we could also use this Taskmaster for anything. Okay, let's move on to the next node. Node number 5 is going to require Brawlers, and there are so many Brawlers, it's crazy. Okay, so we have double long shot, Shatterstar, we have multiple men, 2 of them, and we have Minerva, Wong, and Agatha. So what I'm expecting is Wong to taunt, and then you cannot get rid of long shot, both of them, and they're gonna destroy you with all their crits, right? And because you have 2 of them at the same time, whenever they crit, they're gonna get 40% speed bar rather than just 20% speed bar. So that's gonna be pretty much insane. Aga ultimate also does a lot of crits, so this team is going to be super fast. And if you attack the multiple mans, well, guess what? Minerva is going to get a lot of speed bar, and she's going to revive whichever character you kill. Now, you should get as fast as possible rid of these long shots, because if you put long shot together with Polaris, man, you're gonna get wrecked. And then on the second wave we have double Strange Supreme and Gambit, because why not, right? Why not? We love to have some Gambits, and yeah, it's always lovely. The final character will be Morgan Le Fay, which on her own is not a big deal, but we'll see. Okay, so in terms of Brawlers, which Brawlers we have? Black Cat, if you have her available, you should try to use her. We have Deadpool and we have Gwenpool. Okay, interesting. We also have Shang-Chi, so maybe we could use some kind of what? We have Infinity Thor here, okay. We have Ghost Rider here, okay. So maybe we could use some fast team that applies negative effects. We also have Val here. Okay, so we have Val, we have Valkyrie, we have Thor. Do we have any other Hero Asgardians? Because like this, we could use... Oh, we also have Heimdall. Okay, so we could use some kind of Hero Asgardian team with Val, and then just revive the characters, right? We have some characters with war synergies. With Heimdall, your characters are also going to get additional energy, so you can use the revive of Val first. We also have Quicksilver over here, so you could possibly turn rewind the Wong, and then destroy the enemies with our Thors. So I can definitely see some combination of characters we could use here. We also have Gamora and Nebula. So overall we have some interesting options. So the goal would be to turn rewind and stun or ability block this Wong, take care of the long shots, and then move on from there. Make sure that you also get rid of Minerva, otherwise she's gonna revive the long shots and that's gonna cause you some problems. Okay, let's move on. We have the node number 6, Nowhere and Sinister 6 once again. We have a double, yes, you heard it right, we have double Ghost Rider, double Mr. Negative, and a bunch of other mystic characters. This is going to be a huge problem, because you have to remember that whenever the enemies apply a negative effect to you, they are going to get 3% speed bar, and 3% is not a lot when you are applying one negative effect. Now, when you have two Ghost Riders, it's not going to be 3%, it's going to be 6%. And if they apply negative effects to multiple characters, well, guess what? You're gonna get like 20% speed bar early on, and this Mordo, the Strange Supreme, and the Scarlet Witch, all of them apply negative effects to the entire team. So these guys are gonna have back-to-back turns. So you want to make sure that your Nowhere team is max health. You want to make sure that your Nova and your Cosmo and all your characters are going to trigger their passives, otherwise you're gonna get clapped really, really hard. You really need the passive abilities from Nova to come through and to heal you up whenever you drop below 60% health. Otherwise, you're just gonna get roasted. And if you're gonna try difficulty 9, you probably have to use a sack team in order to deal with these Ghost Riders. Otherwise, they are just gonna shred through you really quickly. Okay, so let's move on to the next node. We have Mystic Villains, and on node number 7. So we have Quicksilver, Double Psylocke, we have Dark Beast, Archangel, Nemesis. So there is a possibility that we could have the full Death Sea team. Be careful with that. And then we have, look at this, Icarus, Falcon, and Captain Sam. Holy shit! How much speed bar are these guys going to get? It's gonna be definitely interesting. This node might be quite problematic, but once again we have our Mystic Villains coming through. Let's once again take a look at which Mystic Villains we have available. So we have Doctor Doom, we have Agatha. We kind of need this Agatha to heal up Doctor Doom. We also have Absorbing Man that might be useful. We already used him for the Nova trials. You might be able to use him again. Otherwise, you have to use some kind of other characters. You have to be very careful here, because if you are using your Lokis and your Hellas, those Archangels and the Icarus of the worlds and so on, they are really gonna shred you through. And once again, we have another Minerva. Whichever character you kill first, she's gonna be able to revive. So you really need to pay attention to this one. Once again, if you are taking any kind of characters that has a lot of minions, even like Doctor Doom, right? You might get yourself into some problems. Now, we have Thanos, we have Ultimus here. There are some rumors of Thanos getting a rework. There is a maintenance coming up soon. Is that going to bring the implementation of the Thanos rework? Probably not, but it's something that you should keep your eyes on. And that's it. Also, make sure you power up your Dormammu. Maybe some initial rest stars or Isolate is going to help out with this trial. Let's move on to the next node. Node number 8 with the global controllers. So on this one, we have a Brawler right here. And remember that they are going to have the Alliance War effects. So they are going to get a lot more health. And Kate Bishop and Echo, man, that's going to be tough. Double Gwenpool. Gwenpool is a Brawler, so whenever she attacks, and she attacks quite fast, they are going to clap you multiple times. And then you also have Quake. Quake is a controller. Not exactly sure why Quake is here, but yeah, this could be definitely a problem. Now, we are facing after Red Hulk, and Brawn. So this means Red Hulk will spawn with immunity and safeguard. Quite problematic. And then we have Nick Fury, Kestrel, and Coulson. Man, we're gonna be clapped very, very hard early on. And then it's just try to save yourself from this Red Hulk. Let's see what global controllers we have once again. So Doctor Doom comes through. It really seems that they are really pushing this Doctor Doom meta. Now we have this Omega Red once again. We have the Taskmaster that could apply the blind to that Echo. The Jubilee here, we definitely have to take Morgan Le Fay to stop the assists from Miss Marvel, otherwise we are just gonna get clapped too hard. And beyond Morgan Le Fay, I don't think we have any other Darkhold characters, so what I would recommend is to take as many beefy characters as possible. We could also use Zemo together with Red Skull and make a speed meta team, maybe with Taskmaster, and then Morgan Le Fay, and then Omega Red, yes. So like this, they are going to get 20% more speed bar, and that might allow us to rush through the enemies and be able to apply ability blocks or some kind of stun that stops the enemies from destroying us. So this is something that we definitely have to pay attention to. Maybe it's time to get up our Red Skulls and put his special to some use. Okay, let's take a look at node number 9. We have Brawlers. And we have a bunch of invaders. Wow, we have invaders, we have Captain America. Remember that Captain America is a shield character. And we have Mary Hill, we have Nick Fury, and we have Iron Fist. So all of these characters will count as shield. So they are going to get more assists from Nick Fury, and they are going to get a lot more healing from Mary Hill. This is going to be quite problematic. This node is going to be pretty much insane. All this burst damage that these characters are dealing early on. And yeah, man, this is going to be tough. Okay, so let's see which Brawlers we have available and what can we use. So Abomination could possibly be useful here. We have double Black Panther. We could make a Brawler team with a Hero Brawler team, right? With Miss Marvel, American Chavez for extra health, the double Black Panther, and maybe some Red Hulk or something like that, because he's also Hero Brawler. So that would be somewhat interesting. We have to get rid of Captain Carter as early as possible, right? Because she's going to revive. And then we also have to pay attention to these Captain Americas, because they are going to provide tons and tons of energy. So we have to find a way to rush through and delete these Iron Fists. Otherwise, this is going to be a huge problem. And this is probably the Nick Fury with a rework. So you can expect all the minions to have death proofs and a bunch of extra health, making it probably impossible for your Black Panther to destroy the enemies. So this is going to be something definitely tough. We have to take a look on which way we want to go. Do you want to go with some Web Warriors? You can see that combination that I mentioned at the beginning, one of those new Scourges. All the Web Warriors will count as symbiotes, so you'll get extra health and other effects. But beyond that, this is going to be quite problematic. I think this node is going to require double tap, because dealing with this first wave alone is going to be quite problematic. And then you want to make sure that you lose before the Iron Fists show up. Otherwise, they're going to start reviving people like crazy, and you're not going to be able to handle it. Okay, we have the last node. Last node of the Black Cat Trials, node number 10, where you require Nowhere and Sinister 6. You start off with Nova and Cosmo on defense. This is going to be great for the people that have Nova with Awaken abilities. For everyone else, well, you're going to suck on your finger, or you're gonna suck on your toe, because this is gonna be quite problematic. Double Nebula, you guys know that this is absolute cancer. They do so much damage to your team. This is gonna be quite problematic. And Gamora. Then on the second wave, we have insane burst damage. We have Captain Marvel, Black Bolt, and Gambit. On top of that, why not? We're also gonna get Kestrel, because if you can apply defense down to your team and then clap you with Black Bolt and Gambit at the same time, why not, right? So we have another Cosmo, then we have a third wave with another Cosmo, 3 Cosmos. This is like a wolf pack. And finally we have the last wave with 1 Minerva that is probably going to revive Nova or another Cosmo. And then we have Kang and we have Agatha Harkness. This is going to be quite difficult, because we have to remember that if you are activating that Scourge that allows you to get energy whenever you drop below 50% health, you can expect that you're going to have tons and tons of revives. And if you don't get rid of the enemies as fast as possible, and with characters that whenever you kill them, they cannot be revived, then, well, they will keep coming back with tons of energy, and they're going to clap your cheeks very, very hard. So this is the last node. it seems quite problematic, especially this second wave. The first wave is trash, it's crazy, it's absolutely insane. But then the second wave, bro, the second wave is absolutely ridiculous. It's definitely going to be interesting to see how you're going to be able to destroy these enemies just using Nowhere and Sinister 6, right? I really don't know. I really hope that in the future we'll get Sinister 6 rework, because otherwise it's going to be really tough to beat, and it's going to cause a lot of head pain for anyone trying to do difficulty 9. But yeah, guys, that's all the information that I have for you today on the Black Cat trials. As you can see, this is not going to be a walk in the park. It's going to be quite difficult. And the enemies that we are facing, plus the Scourges that we can activate, they can be nice for us, but they are definitely going to be amazing for the enemies, especially when we have so problematic characters like Black Bolts and Gambits, Kestrels, Morgan Le Fays, Agathas, and Long Shots and Shatterstars everywhere like it's no tomorrow. So this is going to be very interesting for sure. But as always, make sure you guys stay tuned to the channel. I will try to make the teams that I expect to use on each of these nodes, which characters kind of counter the enemies. But either way, when the event starts, we'll have runs on difficulty 8 and on difficulty 9 to help you out through your run, unlocking Black Cat, also some additional rest stars for her, and the other goodies that we have on the milestones. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure you smash that like button, and if you found the video helpful, make sure you share it with your friends on Facebook and Discord. If you're new to my channel, make sure you subscribe for more Marvel Strike Force content, and I will catch you guys later.